Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentations. I will present our paper defending against physically realizable attacks on image classification. And this work is done with Liang Tong and Professor Evgeny Webchik. And my name is Tong Wu. And let's get started. So first, I will go through a little about the motivations. People who know about the adversarial attacks on the deep neural networks may know that there are a lot of literatures now emerged on defending against such attacks on the LP space. For example, L2 defend randomized smoothing for L2 attacks and adversarial training for infinity attacks. But however, there's no effective method specifically to defend against physically realizable attacks. And I know most of you don't know what is physically realizable attacks, so I will first go through it. So for example, if we have face recognition systems and would recognize the pictures in the left as deaf animal. However, if this person is wearing adversarial glasses, you can see that the glasses is made by some colorful patterns, and the face recognition system would recognize him as another person. And similarly, if in the adversarial driving settings, if the attacker puts some stickers on the stop sign, the autonomous driving system might recognize this image as another image, for example, speed limit, which causes very serious security issues. For example, Teslas might crash given this adversarial images. So we have some definitions for the physically realizable attacks. The first one is the attacks can be implemented in the physical space. For example, the attackers actually could print some stickers and stick them on the stop sign to make the autonomous driving system crash. And second, the attacks has low suspiciousness, and this is done by modifying only a small part of the object. With such modifications, this modifications is very similar to the common noise that obtains in the real world. For example, we put on a adversarial eyeglass frames, and it has kind of low suspiciousness to some person to people. And third, the attacks have to cause the misclassification by the state of the art deep neural networks. So that's why it's called attacks. And so first thing we try is to use the adversarial training with projected gradient descent. So like I know like most of you wouldn't know like the adversarial training or something that like this. So like this is a conventional method and introduced like in 2018, and people for it's very similar. Like it's very simple. Like people first generate some adversarial examples through projected gradient descent, and using the adversarial training, like training with these adversarial images to generate a robust model. And but here, like the traditional adversarial training is for L infinity space. So the adversarial examples in L infinity space is that the adversarial examples have a bound of LP norm with the original images. And we found that when we use adversarial training with the L infinity PGD adversaries, you may find that the effectiveness is not really good. So for example, the original model could have almost 100 accuracy when there's no attacks. So the iterations here is the iterations of attack, and accuracy is the model classified examples. So, and you can find that adversarial trainings doesn't make any better with 7 iterations of adversarial training, and when it used 15 iterations of adversarial training, the clean accuracy drops a lot, and the adversarial robustness is only 40%. Therefore, we want to use, we also tried another conventional method. It's called randomized smoothing. It's just when training, you are adding some Gaussian noise. And this is a provable method and could give 35 robustness to the L2 attacks, but not the physically realizable attacks. So when it come to against the physically realizable attacks, it doesn't make a lot of better than the original model. So we want to ask questions. Is there a better model to against the physically realizable attacks? And we found that the evidence suggests that the conventional models which succeed in LP-bounded attacks are not particularly useful when facing such physical attacks. And we found that the common constraints of such attacks is to limit the size of adversarial occlusion, but not the shape and or the location. So we introduced a new method called rectangular occlusion attacks. This rectangle can be placed so we introduced adversarial rectangle to put on human faces and use that to train our model. So this kind of this rectangle can be placed anywhere in the image, and the attacker can further introduce some adversarial noise in this rectangle, and the attack is untargeted attack, maybe meaning that the adversary is want the image to be untargeted, to be misclassified by the deep neural network. Then we introduced the defense against occlusion attacks. We use those images with the adversarial rectangle, and we train this using the deep neural networks. And then we find out that our model is actually much better than the conventional model, like the adversarial training is this line, and the randomized smoothing is this line. And we also try different hyperparameters. For example, if we don't use rectangle, we use square, and we also try some different iterations of the projected gradient descent inside the rectangle. And we found that most of them also perform very effective. Therefore, in this work, we are introducing we are first evaluate the conventional robust methods for image classification, and said that this method is relatively ineffective against physically realizable attacks. And then we introduced the rectangular occlusion attacks called RA. And with the adversarial training, achieves high robustness against the physical attacks. And to our best knowledge, this is the first effective generic defense against those attacks. So we also find other very interesting properties of our methods. For example, we didn't have a much natural accuracy drop. And so this is our paper, and we also provide the code. And if you are interested, you can take a look at our paper. And also there is another video in the ICLR website. You can check that video. And in that video, I gave more specific talks. All right, thank you so much. That's it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me.